everyone, welcome to another session of AP Human Geography with Mr. Ella. Hope you guys had a great week. Our week here at school is a little bit short because we had the Labor Day holiday on Monday, so no school. Wednesday and Thursday we were testing. We were taking our Unit 1 test, so first test of the year. And then Tuesday we were spending some time reviewing. So a little short week that we had this week in terms of material and covering things. One thing that I would recommend to all of you out there as a way to help you review for the AP exam that's going to be coming up in May is whatever assessment that your teacher gives you. This could be a unit test or a quiz, reading questions, whatever it happens to be. You always need to make sure that you keep that assessment when the teacher gives it back to you, and you especially need to look over the material that you got wrong. You really need to look at those things that you need work on, and so the best way to understand which things you need work on is you need to look at the questions that you missed on any of the assessments. And what I would recommend that you do is you go back through those assessments, that you look at those questions, try to understand why it is that you got the question wrong. Did you get the question wrong maybe just because you had a goof up, you knew the answer but you just put the wrong answer down, something along those lines? Is it something that you really just didn't know, didn't remember, so something that you need to focus on for future studies? Once you've gone through each of the questions, I would put those questions in a category. That way you begin to understand maybe what are some of the categories of questions in terms of information did you not understand. You can go back to your standards, you can look at those areas and say to yourself, okay, this was the area in the standards that I didn't know very well. Those are the areas that I'm going to focus on. And really what that allows you to do is it allows you to create a personalized review guide for yourself, not only for any like major assessments, any as a unit test, but also for the AP test that's going to be coming up at the end of the year. So you for yourself personally know the areas that you need to focus on so that you can have the greatest amount of personal success as we go through the course. So we gave our test on Wednesday and Thursday. I'll be interested to see some of the areas where my students maybe struggled a little bit so that we can approach those as we move forward in the year. Friday, what we did is we went ahead and introduced population geography. So the second unit for us is population geography, and we start off the unit by talking about this idea of carrying capacity. One of the main talking points in population geography and population in the world today is the fact that in the world today we have over 7 billion people, and for a lot of people that's a major concern. Of course, Thomas Malthus was talking about population and population growth back in the 1700s, and it's still a concern for people today, especially when we talk about resource consumption and things along those lines. So I introduced the idea to my students, and we read over a couple of articles that present different viewpoints on the idea of carrying capacity and the human influence on the environment. And I posed the question to my students: are people assets or are they liabilities? Are people simply resource consumers, or are they assets to the world where we can innovate and develop technologies and things along those lines? And I'm not going to lie, I was a little sad that probably 3/4 of my students, certainly well over half, saw people in the world as liabilities, as simply resource consumers, and this idea that having more people in the world is just simply detrimental. And so that allowed us to have some good conversation about, well, if that's the case, then what exactly does that mean for us, and what are the implications moving forward in terms of developing population policies and whether or not you allow people to have children, or how does that work? What exactly is it that you're supposed to do? If you believe that there's just simply too many people, or if we need to somehow curtail population, what steps do you need to take, and what exactly are you willing to put up with, and or what are you willing to do? So again, allow us to have some good conversation, begin understanding the idea and some of the difficulties that are created by population growth, but also look at some of the improvements that we've seen over the years that have allowed us to improve the carrying capacity of the world and allow the world to be a place where a lot more people can live, and they can live in a lot better conditions than they ever have in the history of the world. So it was a good conversation, interesting conversation. Caused my students to think a little bit more deeply and differently about the world that they live in. So that's where we're starting at. Next week we'll be looking a little bit more closely at population numbers, population distribution, comparing some population numbers so that we can understand what does it look like in more developed countries versus less developed countries. And then we'll be rounding out the week with population pyramids. So that's where we are, and that's where we're headed. I hope you guys had a great week at school. Certainly if you want us to review anything specific that you're looking at, I'm more than happy to do that. Shoot me a question. So hope you guys had a great week. Hope you're looking forward to a great weekend. I know college football will be a little bit light this weekend. Last weekend, a lot of great games. Hopefully you were enjoying that. So hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you had a great Labor Day. And as always, I hope to see you next time.